Hey, welcome. We are looking at a Super Nintendo today that doesn't display an image. So the first thing I'll do is I'll take it apart. So we'll get the top case off of the device. And there's the guts. Now, I've been looking at this, the Super Nintendo for a week or so. I needed to replace the little capacitor that's just at the top here. So I've taken out the old one, and I think I've found a suitable replacement. But yeah, I'll take the board out and we'll keep going from there. Here's the, so this is the cartridge ejector. It lifts out on one end and sort of slides out of the other. The end with the spring is connected, like one of the arms of the spring goes beneath one of these posts. So we just kind of lift it up on one side and pull the rod through. That's probably the easiest way to separate the ejector from the body. And if I've got all the screws out, we should have liftoff. There we go. So I'll put this to the side. Now I thought that this originally, seeing as it had no video, was maybe something to do with one of the, I guess, CPU modules at the front here. Having a closer look, I will show you. So yeah, having a closer look, it appears that I had a unit with trace rot. This Super Nintendo was one that I had when, I guess, yeah, as a teenager. So it was sitting in a barn for about 10 years, which means things were a little bit gross when I picked it up. Took it out of storage. And come on. Oh, just forgetting the screw on the side here. So I attempted to bridge the solder points that I believed were faulty, and I'll show you those in just a second. I've just put this tape over to prevent them from moving around while I was still working on it. So we'll take off the front shield. I've got a ESD strap just to try and protect the board a little bit. So I don't know if this will show up very well, but here, right beneath the 32 on the, where are we looking here? Let me see if I can, whoop, come on. I'm just gonna check the camera. Come on. Still not showing. Oh, there we, maybe. So just below the 32, the points on the board had been eaten away. So I attempted to bridge the gap between those points and the wires on the other side of the board to, I guess, a little bit of success. If I take my continuity check and we go from, say, this white section here and here, black cable. No, it shouldn't from what I could tell, it was only on the black and I didn't have any other shorts or anything here. Thing on the white. Purple. Nothing else coming from the other components. And then blue was a little bit of a, see if I can find it. Here we go. It's a bit harder to get to. It's kind of beneath the white. But we do have, if I can get it, it's our trace. There we go. And the others aren't responding. So I have managed to bridge that. I don't know how well that's gone. Today I was going to have another look at that and replace this capacitor to see if we can get the board up and running. I also, while I was messing around with it, I just wanted to check that there was no continuity between these, because I removed the, maybe that's nothing there. Cool. I removed the, what is it, RF module, just to see whether we could simplify the board to troubleshoot it, but that didn't seem to make a difference. I do believe that the connections here that come from the cartridge slot into, well, this section of the board, I believe it then goes to the other side. I would say they were more responsible for the failure for the output to appear on the screen than anything else. But yeah, I'm going to see if I can, the first thing we'll do is just replace this capacitor. Now I'm using some of these, and we're going to then use glass capacitors in lieu of the original. The only reason is just because these are easy to replace, so if we do need to do that in the future, we should have the ability to do so. So the hope would be that we can fit these, something like this, in this section of the board. It'll be a bit of a squeeze. The pins themselves don't have room for a solder pad, so I'm going to have to trim a little bit just so I can get some solder on there. But I'll warm up my soldering iron and we'll skip ahead to then. The first thing I will do here is just take the legs off of the connectors for the fuse. Just because there'll be no through holes on here. The metal itself is pretty easy to adjust. Don't want to step on those. I'm then going to try and take a chunk out of the base, if I can. I'm just using some flush pliers here. Don't know if they'll be strong enough, but we'll give it a shot. Doesn't look like it's quite strong enough, so let's see what other options we have. We can get most of, the problem is I don't want the back to sort of go on these grounding pads. I'm just going to grab another one because I mangled that one pretty well. think that will probably do. So it's not not the best sort of alignment there, but it should be enough. Let me grab this. I'm not like a soldering expert or anything, so give the iron a bit of a clean. Oh, yep, that didn't work. Let me chuck some solder onto the pad first. That might be an easier proposition. Now, is this 1,000,000 degrees? No, it's cooled down pretty quickly. Sorry about that, my recording decided to crash, so let's go back in. So I've managed to get the solder to pick up there, but I have to figure out, I do have a pair of pliers. That's probably the smarter option. Come on. There we go. Now we'll do the same thing with the other side here. So chuck some solder on there. It's going to give us a bit of a clean. Now I'm not an expert, and I have a cheap soldering iron from Amazon supporting me. So let's see if we can get this sorted. It's the best way to hold this. Probably not like that. Eyesight's starting to let me down. Ooh. I think I figured it out. If I, that's hot as hell. If I'm just putting the iron on the top of the connection, it sort of sinks into the puddle once it's hot enough. There we go. not the let's have a look. Not the pretty. Oh, wrong way. Not the prettiest, but it will do for what I want. And fits. Just going to check it for any sort of bridges or anything. Cool. That's still fine. There we go. So yeah, it's just under there. You can see that the sort of the pads themselves I soaked with solder and then sort of pushed the connectors to the top of it and allowed the heat to sort of transfer through the connector into the pad and sort of sunk in there. But yeah, that should do the job for what I'm after. Now looking at the other side, I'm just going to see if I can quickly, just going to turn the iron off. Check to see if I can test some other points just to verify that the connections are okay. So let me see if I can give you a better view. There we go. So I used a, what is that, fiberglass pen to take the top of, so this is the fiberglass pen that I used. Oh, you can't really see it there. That way. It allows me to take the top layer of the, I guess the traces off so that they can be soldered directly to. See, the problem I was having is that I wasn't sure whether the connection between the trace and the via on the other side was connected. See if I can count these. Okay, so that via to the purple is fine, and the others aren't bridged. So I'm guessing this is the blue. Let me just grab my pen again. Okay, so blue, white, black, purple. Blue, white, black, purple. Nothing there. But we do get continuity between the cables. And that's kind of what I was wondering, because if it's just the cables that are connected and not the trace, it's hard to verify what the problem is. Let's see if I can get some more. Actually, if I try to angle this. There we go. There's a tiny little bit of trace there. Cool. And it only, yeah, it's only reacting on the blue line. Cool. And then what do we have? What was it again? White. Yep. And then black was the third. Cool. And then the last was that purple one, which we think is pretty good already. Cool. So I think that the dodgy soldering job that I've done there should save it. The main problem I have is I have no Captain tape. I haven't been able to get any since I'm filming this during quarantine. Where the hell did my tape go? Oh. So in the meantime, I'm just going to use some electrical tape. I think that because the traces are bare, there's a risk that the cartridge holder is going to short those out. So if I cover it up, it's really ugly and it probably isn't going to stay there very long. Once I get some Captain tape, I plan on replacing it, but I'm going to just put this back on. I think that it's possible that these bare connections may short it out. So the hope is that I can get this back on cleanly. Like that. The damage traces actually come underneath the connector. So yeah, hopefully we can get that working. I think that's all I wanted to test. After I'll show you a closer look at the, let's see, where are we? That way. Keep going. Gonna focus? Nope. I guess not. So you can see there is a connection there. So that's my fuse replacement. I've previously replaced a capacitor in it. It probably wasn't necessary. Started out thinking that that might have been the cause of the video issue, but seeing as there's complete traces missing, I think that may be a bigger issue. And I don't see any others that may be damaged. But that's a major lesson to me. Don't leave consoles in barns in cardboard boxes. Cool. I'll go ahead and reassemble and we'll give it a test. Cool, so there we are, back assembled. I'm going to set up the cabling and everything, and yeah, we'll have a look to see whether we can get this working again. All right, we are ready to test. Let's see, we need it on AV and ready for the smoke test. Nope, not Apple TV, that's not what I pressed, is it? Okay, the console has power. And we have something on the screen. What's on the screen? Who knows? Previously, it was a blank black screen. And it looks like it might still be a blank black screen. We did get something from the television though, which is more than we were seeing previously. Even the flickering effect is an enhancement of what I was seeing previously. Oh! Ah! Okay. Something happened. You guys saw that, right? You saw the... Holy shit. I did not expect that to work. I mean, it's pixelated and it's not perfect. You can see the graphics are a little bit out, but even if it is, you know, it's not perfect, it's doing something, and that's better than it was before. It's a big improvement on black screen. So I get it to... So look, this controller is okay, it should be okay. Don't get any further than that. Whoop. Yes, we do. Okay. So yeah, you can see there's flickering and pixelation. But seeing as we had nothing previously, I'm gonna keep playing with it, but I think that's a semi-success. But yeah, thanks for dropping by, and hopefully I'll have more videos in the future outlining some more on this Super Nintendo adventure. Thanks.